Hey everyone, George here, the Disney Family Man. I'm back, and we're going to have another Disney discussion with two of my very good friends, Christopher, also OrangeGrove55, and Ethan, our theme park wizard. You could definitely, again, check them out on their own YouTube channels. They do a lot of Disney content, and you could also find them on Twitter. That's where I actually found them too, so to actually get into the discussion. Hi, how you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having us on again, George.
Always a
Yes,
pleasure.
thanks.
So speaking of which, as we all know that we have lengthy discussions on Twitter and social media just of what's going on around the kingdom. So I thought another round the fire table conversation we could have. And I just thought we'd just kind of just get into it, just whatever comes up, no holds bar, and we'll see where the conversation takes us. So I know that you guys have some topics that you want to go over and talk about. Who would like to start?
Let's see. Oh, well, I saw the latest DSNY newscast video yesterday. I guess this one's really for you, George, because I saw that seems like you guys aren't, or Disney World's not getting a new nighttime parade for the 50th anniversary, but maybe a return to the Main Street Electrical Parade. So I was wondering how you felt about that, being a Disney World person. Do you want a new nighttime parade, or do you want the electrical parade to go back? Which is good for me, because I'm a Paint the Night fan, so I'm hoping if it goes over there, then we can finally get Paint the Night back over here.
That's interesting that you bring that up because I actually just watched that yesterday, or was it this morning? It was one of the two. And I noticed that, Jack had mentioned that there's a possibility that a new nighttime show may not come. So we may get the Main Street Electrical Parade. Obviously, Spectro Magic is completely out because they dismantled that whole entire parade, which I'm not so thrilled about because, I did enjoy Spectro Magic. I really did because that, to me, seemed that was Disney World's night parade. Main Street Electrical Parade was more leaning towards Disneyland. However, the fact that we would even be getting a nighttime parade again really makes me happy because we're in a drought session of nighttime parades. And that kind of upsets me because for me, ending the night with a night parade and fireworks at Disney is like the total package. They call the fireworks Walt's Kiss Goodnight. Well, I actually adding on the parade, that's Walt's Kiss and Hug Goodnight.
George, now you make a good point. I agree with you in the sense that, I'm happy that that the Magic Kingdom is actually getting a, rumored to get a nighttime parade. But I feel like Disney trots out the Main Street Electrical Parade far too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it glowed away. Remember in 96 or something, 97? It glowed away forever. Then it came back again, I think in like 2003 or 4 to California Adventure. And now it's been just kind of park hopping for a long time. And I just feel like Walt Disney World, they deserve a new nighttime parade, or at least give you guys Paint the Night, something fresh. I just feel like Disney's really wearing out the old Main Street Parade. I think that it's overstayed its welcome a little bit. As much as I love that parade, it means the world to me. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I love that parade. But I just feel there's only so many times that you can bring this parade back before people start just like rolling their eyes like, oh my gosh, again,
It feels to me, I don't know how it does to you guys, but it just feels like a quicker process to just say, okay, let's give the fans what they want. Let's just give them a night parade. So what should we do? Let's bring back the electrical parade for the 6th time. To be completely blunt, and this is just me, and forgive me, and nothing against Disney at all, but this parade has resurrected more times than Jesus. I feel that if you're going to take something away, and you're going to say it's gone for good, then just leave it at that. And that way, it gives us the notion of, okay, it's sad, we're mourning the process of it's gone, but we're going to be looking forward to something new and different. You know, that's just like with Illuminations. It was a bittersweet moment, but I think after 20 years, it was time to move on. And now that Epcot's getting its complete renovation and everything, I would like to really see what they do with Harmonious, which currently right now they're at Epcot forever. But that's just temporary until the new show comes. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the new technology is going to be with this nighttime spectacular, because they said, based on what it's supposed to be, that the 3-tier building that they're going to have an outdoor park on the very top of this building. And I don't know if it's going to be VIP or exclusive or what have you, but it's supposed to be where you can have a bird's eye view when they have the nighttime show.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And, you know, I actually watched the new one, Epcot Forever. I watched it on YouTube, and I know obviously watching it on YouTube doesn't do its full justice, you know, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. The one thing that really stood out for me, though, about that show was all the Walt quotes, which it really, I thought that was really clever and almost brilliant in a way, because it sort of, they kind of did what Disneyland does a lot, where they evoke Walt. You know, a lot of the Disneyland fireworks shows have the audio from Walt, you know, understandably so. That was his baby, right? But Epcot was also Walt's baby, you know? I mean, he didn't get to see it come to fruition, but it was a project that meant the world to him, that he worked on right up until he died. So Epcot is really, I think, Florida's Disneyland, you know, in regards to connection to Walt. So I just thought it was really, really cool that they added those Epcot quotes from Walt in that show. I thought that was a really, really nice touch. I really enjoyed that. I hope they do that with the permanent show, Harmonious. I hope we get some of that, because I think that's important. I think that was really, really a nice little nod to Walt and his Florida project.
And that's where I kind of go back and forth with how Disney as a company, you know, going more towards the corporate side, is they do have their moments where they, you know, they pay homage to Walt, where, again, what they're doing with the complete revamp of Epcot, that to me feels like more towards the vision that Walt wanted. So I could appreciate that. And then at the viewpoint where they're going to have the Walt statue at Epcot, where he's sitting on a step and he's looking out upon World Showcase.
I love it.
That's cool.
That's all they could have done with the whole revamp. They could have just added that statue.
Yeah.
And it would have been perfect. But I love when the company revokes back to what the whole of how it even became a company, to go back to the founder himself and really just give the respect that he deserves. Because it seems like everything now is so political, so corporate, so it's almost like it's diminishing down to what Walt really wanted. But when they do throw that out there and they respect his wishes and honor what he believed in, then it's like, okay, now I could see the original Disney. That I think that's because that's what I fell in love with Disney. I didn't fall in love with it of it being a business. I didn't fall in love with it of, you know, with the CEOs and the executives and everything. I fell in love with Disney for what it stood for, based on what Walt created literally from the ground up.
Yeah, well, he changed Walt. This is the thing. A lot of people in the general public that aren't as entrenched in the Disney world like we are, they don't realize how much Walt Disney changed the world. You know, he didn't just make cartoons, and like, this was a man who really changed like American culture. You know, how we vacation, how we watch movies, how we how we spend our free time with our families and stuff like that. This man changed our way of life. And it was such a profound change. And I think a lot of people, because we're all young, none of us were here when Walt was alive. So a lot of people feel like they're kind of, they always feel like I think the mentality with the general public is, oh, it's always been this way. It wasn't always like this. You know, Walt came in and really changed the game beyond what anyone could have imagined. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad, like you said, I'm glad that they're going back to that. I'm glad that they're giving respect and homage to the man who really changed the world and founded the company. I think it's great. And Epcot's a perfect place to do that because Epcot was his baby, just like Disneyland was his baby. So it's a perfect spot for Florida to have that kind of Walt Disney homage. You know, I think that's fantastic.
Now, let me ask you too, since we're on the subject, that because everyone has their own opinions, and I think that's the thing that kind of hurts the most is that there's this banter back and forth with fans that, okay, you have to either be on the left or the right. There is no, people can have their own opinion about something. They may not like it, but that doesn't mean that they dislike Disney completely. They just may not like the decision, or they say, oh, I don't really like. It's like when you go to the parks, you're not going to love every attraction you go to. You know, it's like when I go into the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World and I see the magic carpets of Aladdin, I'm like, you know. So, but sticking to the subject, I read an article. I don't know if it's true. I've seen it on multiple sites, however. So I'm assuming it is that Disney is now kind of toning it down with the cast members of their appearance.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yes, the
So,
Disney look. You can
the Disney look
it's,
that they said that they're allowing. I can't remember what the website said. I'm not sure if it's even true, but what it was claiming was that men are allowed to have a thin beard and mustache as long as it's in stubble form.
Okay.
Women aren't allowed to wear, women are allowed to wear a necklace, but it can't go below the like the end of the neck to the beginning of the chest. It can't come all the way down. It can only be up right where the chest part is. And I read a lot of comments, and there were people saying, you know, that's fine, it doesn't bother me. And then there's people that are saying, what is Disney doing with this? So I wanted to get your guys' opinion, because I'm kind of in the middle with it. I don't really have a problem with it per se, but is this the starting point where Disney's going to get lazy with the Disney look of the cast members?
No, I think it's 20 about 2020. So I think that just adapting to the times. Style changed since 1955. So I feel like they should be a little bit more lenient. So I'm glad they're doing it.
I'm kind of in the middle a little bit with this, because I think that Ethan touched upon a good point. I think that it is almost 2020 and there should be an evolution in regards to, the times and everything like that. But I just hope it's not a slippery slope where it becomes like acceptable for like all kinds of piercings and stuff, and like kind of a sloppy.
Oh yeah, hopefully not that.
Yeah. I just hope as long as, look, I have no problem. Like what you stated, George, like in terms of like the beard, as long as it's like, groomed, and the necklace, I think those are very, very minor things. Like I have no problem with a cast member who has a beard that takes care of it and maintains it and it looks clean, that's no problem to me. As long as it doesn't mean as long as it's not a slippery slope where they go so lenient where cast members are like, they have like wrinkled shirts and like untucked and they look really unkept, Yeah. As long as they keep a standard where you have to stay really, really groomed, look really clean, nice, then that's fine, But the slippery slope does concern me a little bit, definitely. But
well, luckily, luckily, Magic Mountain still doesn't require that piercing stuff. So it was not, unless Disney wants to be compared to Magic Mountain, hopefully they stay way above,
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, who wants to go to the Magic Kingdom and see Cinderella with a python tattoo on her neck?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's really classy, right? Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right,
So I
George. You
feel
don't
like
want
for the characters, uh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, for the character, I feel like, I feel like if you're Cinderella, I feel like you shouldn't even be allowed to wear the necklace because that just like doesn't fit the character itself. So I feel like maybe they even have like different guidelines. I'm not sure. Did the article mention anything like that? Like characters having different,
Yeah,
because
I
like
think
you
I
don't see
think
like
it's just
Pocahontas
more
wearing a
so.
necklace because she doesn't wear that in the movie.
Yeah, I think it's just more so for the cast members that are like out on the streets or like vendors. You
Oh,
know.
like the ticket and okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have too much of a problem with that. I mean, like, the stuff you described, what seems pretty minor to me. I mean, as long as they don't go overboard with it and start, like you said, allowing like neck tattoos and things of that nature, I think we're okay. My whole thing is just look clean, presentable, and it's all good, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I was more so curious because I mean, it wasn't a heated debate, but it was just more. I just saw different opinions coming. I'm thinking, I don't know how I would feel about that. And then the more that I thought about it was that I'm fine with the changes. They were very subtle changes that it wouldn't bother me as long as it just kind of stays at that point. It doesn't go anywhere further than, oh, I just woke up today, so I think I'll just go into work like this. So
you know, to also kind of touch upon a point about dress code, I do have to say, like, if you look at the pictures from like 1955 and even into like the 60s of like, when people would go to Disneyland, they would dress up. They would wear like a nice shirt and slacks, and the women wore
Hmm.
heels and stuff. And I know that's not, I mean, I know that's probably not the most comfortable attire to wear to a park, but it was kind of nice to see everyone, take care of their appearance when they went to the parks. And now no one cares, right? No, like
yeah,
people are like, like, like whatever, like just looking like you said, like they just woke up, and it's crazy. But I kind of do. I kind of do. I like that era where like people actually cared. It was just kind of nice to watch, nice to see. But I know that's a era that's never going to come back. We're never going to get that. But it was kind of cool to see everyone get kind of dressed up for the park. So that was kind of neat.
that actually
Didn't
makes me.
didn't they also like dress up to the movies too, right? And stuff. They went to like they dressed up to go to the movie theater and stuff. Was that earlier or was that also that
No, that
quick?
was around the
'Cause I
same time.
remember
Anytime people were out in public, they like dressed their best. Like they were in, women were in their high heels and I mean, going back to June Cleaver from Leave It to the Beaver, she used the vacuum in pearls. So, but it's funny that if you were to take two photographs side by side and say this is the 50s and now this is the 21st century, and as you said, Christopher, with everyone is just so chic and they're put together and their kids are so well behaved, holding their balloons. And now you look at today's picture, you see one parent
and
got
their
their child
fights in
running off,
Toontown.
you got another child running off. They got ice cream all over them, and the parent's hair is just like sticking up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different time, and I do miss how people got dressed up for the occasion. I thought that was really nice. And I get it. Like people want to go to these parks and they want to be comfortable. I understand that, but I don't know. I just thought it was kind of nice to see people actually like go and kind of dress up a little bit.
Yeah.
At least they have Dapper Day.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they have Dapper Day, so that's like when you get that real sophisticated type of look.
Now, have you guys? I'm going to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent, but it's kind of related to the subject we're talking about. I follow a few accounts from Japan, and the Japanese Disney fans go all out with the cosplay for the Halloween.
Oh, they sure do.
They go all out, and I've been retweeting a bunch of them because
love
the
it.
costumes are incredible. Have you guys been? I mean, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you probably have seen it. I know you two follow me, but I wish that we like the American parks, people would get into it like that. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. But do are you allowed to wear costumes over like a certain age here? Isn't it like a restriction?
Oh, that's true. I think there might be. Yeah, I think that they don't
Like in
after.
Japan, it's probably no restriction, but here I think it's like what over 13 or something. You can't like wear a costume. Same thing
Yeah,
like with the lightsabers and you can't carry them around. So I feel like that really prevents that really cool Japanese stuff. But I agree. I'd love to see the really cool costumes and stuff. Or just people like Star Wars Galaxy just dressing up be able to dress up as a Jedi. That would look really cool. Like the Wizarding World, how you can be like the wizard, and that's really awesome. You walk around and see people with their wands. Pretty cool.
it's cool. Yeah, it's really cool. I've been following a bunch of those accounts, and they look like they legitimately look like cast members, which is probably why they don't allow it here. They don't
Yeah.
want to confuse them with cast members, but they look like cast members. Some of the Japanese cosplayers, like this one girl does Alice when she goes, and she looks, even though she's Japanese, she looks exactly like Alice. I mean, I would legitimately think she was a cast member if I was at the park. She incredible cosplay, amazing,
Well,
So it's pretty cool.
that's like even outside of the international parks. Like when I came out for the D23 Expo, these costumes were very authentic and legit. Like, I mean, these people must have taken. I spoke to somebody that I forget what she was dressed up as, that she said she actually took 5 years to make her costume just for that 3-day expo experience.
Wow.
Oh,
And I
wow.
thought that is commitment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That is commitment. That is commitment. Wow.
So,
Yeah. Pretty-
what I wanted to ask you guys, because we were talking about, just, people doing different things and then going with your families and having your kids. And, you could either have it like back in the 50s where everyone was just so maintained and well behaved and the kids did exactly what the parents said. And then you have today's era where kids kind of, they like to go do their own things. But not having to go to Disney all the time with your family, or say that you're a person without kids, how do you guys do Disney in your way?
Hmm. Oh,
Well,
okay.
oh, you go first. Go
Okay.
first. Go first.
Let's see. So it's usually me and a couple of friends. We're very ride people, so we really don't take a lot of time to see shows unless it's fireworks or something. But sometimes a parade. But we usually go and then we usually max pass everything or don't use fast pass at all. And then we go to Disneyland first and then California Adventure, then back to Disneyland. And then we just like ride everything and ride everything again. And that's and then we also use mobile order, so we just don't wait in line for the food. And then we usually leave it, get there by like at 11, stay till like midnight, and just keep going around and around. We ride so many rides, incredible. And then usually watch the fireworks, but sometimes even skip that. And I try to get them to watch World of Color with me, but they never want to. That's the only request I have. But and that's pretty much. Oh, and also we take lots of pictures. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's basically my Disney trip.
yeah, for me it just kind of depends on who I go with. Like if I go with my girlfriend, she doesn't drink. She's very anti-alcohol. So we'll go and we'll just do rides and we'll eat and we'll kind of relax. And I'm not going to go to the cantina or like the Lamplight Lounge or anything like that with her. So it's a different kind of experience than if I go with a buddy. If I go with it's like me and a couple buddies, we will go to the cantina and have a couple drinks and do that whole thing. So it just kind of depends on who I go with. Each experience is a little different. Equally, it's different if I go with because my whole family has annual passes. So if I go with my mom and my sister, it's really laid back. My mom doesn't do a lot of rides, so we'll just go and we'll have lunch and kind of relax, maybe walk around, Main Street. So each person I go with, each group that I go with, it's a different experience. it's different every time. Each person has different preferences. Like my girlfriend, she's terrified of like drop rides or anything too fast.
Oh, so no Guardians of the Galaxy for her,
Definitely not. Definitely not.
huh?
Yeah, no go on that. So our trips are tailored differently because like there are certain things she won't go on. Same with if I go with a buddy, depending on his likes, or my mom, her likes. So each trip's a little different, but it's kind of fun. I like going with various different people because the Disney trips are very much, your experience is very much rooted in who you go with. You're literally at the same place every time, but depending on who you're going with makes the experience completely different every single time. So
Completely agree.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and yet so very true. It's because I even noticed a difference just within myself, because I used to do, before getting married and having a son, did a lot of solo trips, but I would only do, through like a vacation package or what have you, and then doing those with a family, with my son, and then becoming a Premier Passport holder. That just completely blew everything out of the water, because I just got a whole complete different perception of how to do the parks, where I could just come and go as I please, and I don't feel like I'm on a time clock.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, and also
go ahead, Ethan. Go
part
ahead.
of my day, yeah, also part of the day, we usually take maybe like sometimes that's just 45 minutes, right? And just find a place. Usually it's either the Rivers of America or on the pier, and just like sit and like just people watch. And I love doing that too.
Yeah, and George, you mentioned that like since you got your Premier Pass, it's different, and it really does change things. Once you get an annual pass, it changes the game, because like if you go once a year or once every 4 years, right? Your experience is different because you're kind of more rushed. You're kind of like, we got to hit every ride. We got to hit all these things, all these shows, because we're not going to come back for another year or more. But once you're an annual pass holder and you go on the regular, you can walk up to Indiana Jones. Oh, it's 35 minutes? Nah, I'm not going to bother. I'll do that next weekend, right?
Yeah.
It's so different. It's so much more laid back. And I've done so much more. I've been an annual pass holder now since 2002. And my experiences since then as an annual pass holder have been so much different than they were before I was a pass holder. Now, I do all these laid back things. Like I'll go to the tiki room and just have a Dole Whip and relax, where maybe I wouldn't have done that before because I was in such a rush to get through and hit all the big rides. It opens you up to those smaller experiences, which I think is pretty cool,
Yeah, and that's what I did when I was out there for the 12 days, California. I just took, I'd say almost 2 hours of just sitting on the park bench at Disneyland and just watch people. That's all I did. And then I got into a conversation with a gentleman sitting next to me, and we talked for another 45 minutes. But if I was just doing that as a regular vacation, I could be, not that the conversation wasn't nice, but I could have thought, oh, there could have been so much more that I could have been doing to get my money's worth, but it didn't bother me because I knew that I had the pass.
Yeah, exactly. Once you have the pass, it changes everything. You can take a much more laid back approach to it, and it's liberating. It is. It's really liberating in a lot of ways. You can really soak in the atmosphere and the environment, and it really does make you, I don't know, I think having a pass makes you appreciate the parks more. They become more because you're able to take it all in. You're not just going through you're not just rushing through, and it's not like a total panic the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. There's much more time to sit back, relax, and kind of just walk slowly and enjoy. Now, Chris, I had a question for you actually. Since you do have a pass, and I guess it depends who you go with, because it depends when I do mine, it goes. But have you ever thought of when you go to the parks doing like a construction update, or like a update or a vlog for your channel, or do you not even think about that, or does it depend who you go with?
I did the in-park vlog thing one time. It was like a year and a half ago, and it just wasn't my thing. I just, for me, like I'd rather, when I go to the parks, I'd rather go and be in the moment with my friends and family and then go home and talk about it. When I was there vlogging, it just wasn't my thing, you know? And my mad respect, super respect to like you, like Theme Park Wizard, you go and you do a phenomenal job. Fresh Baked, they go into the parks, do a phenomenal job. You guys do it really well. For me, it wasn't my niche. I couldn't get into it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like for me, this media has been upgraded. Um, uh, for me, I notice I can only do it when I'm with a family. I usually don't, or with friends. I usually don't, but I usually have this one friend who doesn't mind coming with me when I do that. So I usually can only do it with him. Otherwise, I just really just enjoy the people because I feel like I don't want to just say, all right, guys, I'll be right back, and they're like, where are you going? And so I feel like I can only do this to one person. So that's why I was wondering like why you did or didn't do it, and then how other people did it, if they felt the same way. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm glad that we kind of all have like that
too.
same mentality of, when we do Disney, there's not a right or wrong way to do Disney, depending on who you're with. If you're not with anyone at all, it's just the notion of that you don't have to have kids. You don't have to be a kid. You could be, and I'm one that I'll say that I'm going to go to Disney till my ticker stops ticking.
Well, I've actually been to Disney many times actually by myself. I've been there by myself, nobody else, and I had a phenomenal time. Walking around, taking in the atmosphere, maybe just getting something to eat, kind of just enjoying stuff on my own time. It's fun. I actually really like, and no disrespect to the people I go with, I love going with them too, but there are some times where you just want to go by yourself and just kind of do what you want to do, and it's fun. It really is. It's a different, and again, that is a different experience. It's a totally different experience than when you go with.
You're like on your own, so you can do whatever that you want, pace yourself, your own time. No one's like, I want to go this ride. You can go whatever ride you want. You can eat whatever you want. Some solo trips are actually pretty awesome.
They're pretty awesome, dude. You go to Lamplight Lounge, down a few black pearls. So it's in all kidding, all seriousness though, it is a fun experience. It's pretty cool to have that moment where it's just you and the park. It's interesting.
It really is. And I wish a lot of
I used to.
I just wish a lot of people would just give it that chance rather than hurrying up and bashing it or having something negative about, everything.
Bashing it.
Yes.
Bashing it.
Yeah.
Bashing it. California Adventure. Bashing it. Those Twitter people, I still can't get over that.
Well,
Bashing
you actually beat me to it because that was my segue into the that somebody here has to get something off his chest.
Comment below, guys. Would you rather see a DCA parking lot or a regular theme park? I vote regular theme park because these people on Twitter and the WDW Magic forums, whether it's the Tower of Terror, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Campus, the Halloween party going over there, no matter what it is, some people find no matter any way to just say, I wish California Adventure was turned back into a parking lot. Why the heck would you wish that? Then Disneyland would be double crowded. It just makes no sense to me. So I don't understand why people say that. It really aggravates, especially like they just renovated the whole thing, and they still someone said this about a week ago on the post was what's the next big thing after I think Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Well, I wish they just turned DCA back to a parking lot. I'm like, that makes that happen. That brings nothing to the conversation of that post at all. It makes no sense. What a waste of breath.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, Ethan. I mean, it's ridiculous to say that California Adventure would be better as a parking lot. I mean, Buena Vista Street alone is worth that park's existence. I love that street. I love Cars Land. I love World of Color. I love the like you said, the Halloween nighttime stuff like the Oogie Boogie Bash and all that good stuff. California Adventure brings a lot to the table. And I think it's a fun, it really has evolved into a solid, sister park for Disneyland. And I think the people that say it's better as a parking lot, it's such a ridiculous comment. It's such a ridiculous opinion. To me, it's basically just trolling. It's trolling at that point. There's no way a rational human being can honestly believe that a parking lot is better than
Yeah.
Avenger. There's no way. I mean,
And those are the same people that say Galaxy's Edge is like an eyesore, sore thumb attached to Disneyland. That seems like they all make the same little statements. I'm like, nothing makes them happy over there.
That's what makes me think that they're really not serious. They just want to just write something just to see where it goes.
That's exactly what it is, George. Like you said, it's trolling. They just they want to hate it to hate it, And there's people there are those kind of people in every single fandom, whether it be Disney park fandom, the Star Wars fandom is chock full.
Yeah.
It's oozing with those kind of people, I know I argue with those people all day long on Twitter, but yeah, it's ridiculous. And to say that DCA is better off as a parking lot is really ridiculous. It's really a dumb comment. It's not even worth entertaining. Those people don't even believe it. They're just trolling.
And well, when Rise of Resistance comes out and the Marvel Land comes out, I'd like to really see how much of the Star Wars haters and the DCA haters really see it now, because they'll probably be the first ones in line.
Oh yeah, they always are. They always are.
Mm-hmm. But
Now,
that is a good question to that post about what's next, like after Runaway Railway. Which park do you think will get the next major investment? Do you think it'll be the Tomorrowland Fantasyland thing or something else in California Adventure?
For me, I would say without a shadow of a doubt, it would have to be Disneyland, because right after Marvel Land, or excuse me, Avengers Campus opens, there's not going to be too much land left for development in that moment without them having to change something. And I don't think that they're going to do back-to-back construction in DCA right after Avengers Campus opens. So I honestly think that'll probably be the time to shine for Tomorrowland to get the revamp that it needs.
100%, George. I agree with you. I think after the Avengers Campus thing, they're going to go to Disneyland. They're going to do either Tomorrowland or they're going to do a Fantasyland expansion. DCA probably won't see another big thing for a while. Like it might see like an attraction. Like there were the rumors for a while of that black box attraction that can change, periodically through time or whatever. They can alter it to, like for a year it can be Spider-Man, and then the year after that it can be Doctor Strange. Adaptable attractions. We might get something like that that's been rumored for that park for a long time. But in terms of a major expansion, yeah, I mean, DCA is running out of space, unless they get rid of something, they really don't have much room to grow. Disneyland has a lot of room to grow right now. They have all of Tomorrowland, which should be bulldozed and redone. They have a lot of room around Fantasyland that they can work with. So it just seems natural that Disneyland would be the spot that any future expansion would go to.
Now, speaking of Tomorrowland, I'm going to ask the Star Wars fan down there, Mr. Chris. So I don't know if I told you, George, but I mentioned to someone that I think, or in a video of mine, I think I love Star Wars, but they have Star Wars Land, and then I feel like I call Tomorrowland Star Wars Land Light because there's a Hyperspace Mountain, a Star Wars launch bay, and Star Tours. So I feel like, they should keep all Star Wars, or at least keep it close to each other. But I feel like there's two different Star Wars, on the opposite sides of the park. That's why I really feel like Tomorrowland should hurry up and get a bulldoze, because there's like,
on the last video.
Yeah, because there's like it's like you have two Star Wars lands. One for I call the Tomorrowland the original trilogy, prequel and original trilogy Star Wars, and then a sequel trilogy is over there in Galaxy's Edge. I feel like Star Wars half park.
What do you guys actually see Tomorrowland becoming as far as like attractions go? Because to me, Tomorrowland is I would think the most difficult to reconfigure, because you have to take a concept that is supposed to be changing in time, but every so often you would have to be doing a revamp every couple years. So honestly, I would actually even just go away from the tomorrow aspect and just kind of create it as a, I don't know if you said it, Ethan, but like more of like of a discovery land.
Yeah, Discovery Land. I think this the one in Paris looks pretty cool. Look, architecturally it looks pretty cool when I went there. They still have Space Mountain. It's just a different type of Space Mountain.
Well,
Architect.
well, yeah, they're gonna have to do something with it where it doesn't age as rapidly. Like that retro version of the future always seems to work because it's more of a timeless version. And they're really in a pickle with Tomorrowland because, Marvel is getting its own land at California Adventure, and Star Wars has its own land already at Disneyland. So, they can't really add those properties into that land anymore. They could, but it would be awfully weird. So you can't use Star Wars, you can't use Marvel. So there's not a whole lot of big IP that they can throw into Tomorrowland now. They can do the Tron coaster, if they could fit it, they could do that. But like the other stuff, like what could you put in there? Like Wall-E and Big Hero 6. But again, those are popular movies, but they're not huge IP. They're not like Star Wars or Marvel, and they're not like Frozen. So they're in a real bind. Like, what do you feel? Because Disney, whether we like it or not, is obsessed with franchises. So they're gonna want to put a bunch of franchises in Tomorrowland. So what do you put in there? What can you put in there that's going to be a huge draw? There's not a whole lot of franchises that'll fit that theme.
I wonder, depending on how well the movie Onward does at the box office, if it's various, because that would seem, well, I guess with Onward, which actually I think would actually do well, because if you really look at the trailer, it has a tomorrow futuristic look to it, but it also has a fantasy aspect to it. So I think that would go well, like right on the border between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I was at the movie panel at D23 Expo, and before the panel, my opinion on Onward was, you know what, it feels like Disney's version of like Shrek. After they showed us like a 10-minute clip from the movie. It wasn't a trailer, anything like that. It was just 10 minutes from the movie. I was really impressed by that. My excitement level went from 0 to like 10, like immediately after seeing it. It has a lot of heart. It feels like a really classic Pixar Disney kind of movie. That movie is going to be a lot of fun.
Did that 10-minute do the recent trailer justice? Because a lot of people were saying, what are we really looking at? We're looking at these two brothers that are going on a road trip with their bottom half father.
Yeah.
So did the 10 minutes, I think I said it backwards. Did the trailer do the 10 minutes justice, or not even close?
No, it didn't. The 10 minutes that we saw explains everything. Okay. You get more context in regards to what's really going on, and it's an interesting story. The trailers I've seen for Onward have been really terrible compared to what we saw from the actual film. I think Disney is sort of missing the mark in terms of the marketing a little bit, because the film that the small piece of the film that we saw was really cool, and the trailers haven't done anything for me. So I don't know. I liked what I saw. I thought it was pretty cool. But again, here's the other thing. Here's the caveat. You're at the expo. There's all this excitement in the air. There's hundreds of people with you. It's an exciting energy in the room, which could play a big factor in your opinion of watching this stuff. So that might kind of alter my opinion a little bit. Maybe that was part of the experience that make it even better than it really is. Maybe, I don't know. But just going off of what I can think of, I really enjoyed that 10 minutes they showed us. I thought it was a really, it feels like a really emotional movie. I'm excited for it. I'm actually going to see it now. I wasn't going to see it. Now I'm going to see it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It comes out when next year?
I think
March
sometime next
6th.
March.
March 6th.
Oh, okay.
How
So
I know
just a
that is
few
because we're
months.
actually having our son's birthday party at the theater, and that's the movie we're going to take all the kids to see.
Cool.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So, kind of staying on that subject, there's also someone here that got a little glimpse before it was released to the public of a little movie coming out in December, just something little teeny tiny of a galaxy far, far away that's about to end the whole complete Skywalker saga. As I said, nothing big, nothing major. It's teeny, it's like microscopic. But that Christopher, that you actually got to see some footage of Rise of Skywalker before it was actually released to the public of the trailer and everything. And then now with kind of also leaning on towards Tomorrowland with Star Tours, that they're adding a new planet onto Star Tours. So how would that go about that? They're still actually implementing more scenes and different storylines to Star Tours that could even go even beyond after the Skywalker saga is complete. Do you keep Star Tours but move it somewhere else, or do you just get rid of it completely and they're just kind of using that as just a fill-in for now?
I think I'll be completely honest with you. I think the Rise of Skywalker addition to Star Tours is more about promoting the movie than it is about the attraction. I mean, like we said, like anything for Tomorrowland is going to come after Runaway Railway, which is in a couple of years. So it's really no skin off their nose to like add this Rise of Skywalker planet to promote the movie coming out in a couple of months. It's not going to change anything. Ultimately, if they wanted to bulldoze Tomorrowland after Runaway Railway, they could still do that. That's still 3 years away or 2.5 years away or more. So yeah, this is just about, I think this move doesn't signal Star Tours staying. I think they're just making the best of the attraction that they can to promote the film. I think that's 100%. It's all about the movie. Star Tours, I think I still believe that Star Tours is dead man walking. I can't believe it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna last past whenever they decide to do the new Tomorrowland. I do not think Star Tours will survive that. I think it will get removed. I really do. I can't see it surviving.
Yeah, probably same because there's like I guess 2 simulators, so but at least it's still very popular, so that's a good thing. Star Tours. And this new scene, it should be really cool. I mean, I can just imagine going over the ocean and maybe they take us over the lightsaber battle between Kylo Ren and Rey, kind of fly over there. Maybe even see Palpatine. They can make it really cool, that one scene. So I'm definitely gonna ride it in December to see that new scene.
The Raylos are gonna love that one. With
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the Raylo. That was like the Raylo moment in the trailer. With him. But I do.
Especially when they win and they smash that statue together. Oh, I was like, oh, come on, just kiss already.
Yeah. It's funny.
Well, I mean, George Lucas said that it's a one big soap opera in space, so they might as well.
They might as well. Well, on a tangent, on a little bit of a tangent, I do actually like the idea of Raylo, and I don't necessarily need it to be a romantic thing. When I say Raylo, just the connection of these two characters, the bond, the relationship, which doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, I think is very, very interesting because Star Wars has always been about complicated relationships, whether it be, Luke and his, villainous dad Vader, or it's, Anakin and Padme. They've always had, Star Wars has a history of really complicated, crazy relationships. And I think that this is the thing that the sequel trilogy needs to kind of tie it all together. And I think that relationship between Kylo and Rey kind of plays into that tradition of having these really weird relationships. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic. You know, it probably won't be romantic, but I think that just having that relationship, that deep bond, that love for each other is so Star Wars, you know, and it's such a messed up relationship that it just fits right in. It fits into the saga.
Did you guys get your tickets?
I did. I got two, actually. I got 2 different days.
Oh wow. I'm planning to get them pretty soon, or at least when definitely by the time it. Oh, see, my theater, it's kind of, I guess you can call it small, but if you go on like on a Thursday, at least everyone here in Agora, they're like sleeping, so I can easily get like a 10 p.m. thing. It'll be like a lot of decent seats open. So I usually go on Thursday. Like of Endgame, I got seats like right away. I mean, they're in the front, but it was okay. And then so I usually probably go like maybe a late showing Thursday night, and get a nice open.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, we got ours for Friday at 6:10 p.m.
Cool.
I tried for Thursday, but it was completely
Prime time.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, how this one does. So far the pre-sales seem to be pretty strong, but we'll see. We'll see how it does financially.
So do you think, based on how this movie is going to end, it's going to affect Galaxy's Edge in the sense of the storyline that they have within the land?
Well, no, I don't, just because in terms of the timeline, Galaxy's Edge comes after episode 8, before episode 9. So if Disney remains, true to the timeline for Galaxy's Edge, it shouldn't change anything.
Okay.
Because it's kind of nestled in between the 2 films. If Disney decides, what, episode 9, let's say episode 9 comes out, right? And it's a $2 billion movie, I mean, and it does way more than people think it will. And Disney decides, what? Screw the timeline at Galaxy's Edge. We're gonna throw we're gonna have a Dark Ray meet and greet. We're gonna have Emperor Palpatine over there. We're gonna do, which they might. You never know. I mean, what will be more important? It really comes down to priority. What's more important to Disney? Will being consistent in the timeline be the priority, or pushing the movie that has been proven a huge hit? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. If it's a huge hit and it does very, very well, I could definitely see Disney saying, hey, you know what? Forget the timeline. Just put the elements from Rise of Skywalker in there, But really, technically, it shouldn't be in there, because it falls after episode 8. It shouldn't have any effect technically, but we'll see. Money does talk, especially with Disney, so we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you definitely just came up with the title of this vlog. It's going to be Disney Screwed the Timeline. But just like with the technology of everything that's going on, that I cannot wait for. There's 2 things that I cannot wait for. I mean, I can't wait to see the Avengers Campus in general, because the concept art, it looks very... There's a lot of detail, but it's not in your face of where everything is just so well run to say, okay, well, this is Spider-Man, this is this is that. It actually fits in well. And the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, honestly, is that e-ticket attraction at the Avengers Campus.
Yes, me too.
And with the Rise of the Resistance, those 2 attractions alone, of how they said that it's just the ambition that Walt Disney Imagineering had put upon themselves to make these 2 attractions, that I really hope, based on what they're assuming to fans, is that you start out in the Quinjet and then your seat just ejects and moves through the scenes. That I really hope it does.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Side by side in a Quinjet, and then everyone's seats just ejects and then moves into the scenes, sort of like how it does with that one I don't know if you guys have it out at Universal Hollywood, but it's did they have a Jurassic World? You kind of move on like a bar, but it's like a 1-2 seater.
Oh no, the bird, the theme of that bird. What's that bird? The ter- um
Pterodactyl.
dinosaur bird. There you go. No, we don't have that one here.
Okay.
But I know what you're talking about. It's like a little. It's like a suspended coaster type of thing, but it's like you're in like little buckets, like a 2-seater.
Yeah.
I think you can't be over a certain weight or else you can't fit in it or whatever. But it just kind of goes around. It's like a aerial people mover type of style thing.
It's sort
but
of
with
like where
two
you're
people and they
suspended
kind of go
underneath
around.
the track.
Yeah,
But if
you're
they were to have
underneath.
something like
Yeah.
that, but attached to the notion of how Flight of Passage is, where it actually feels like you're in the screen, that would just be awesome.
That would be incredible. Yeah, it sounds really cool. Starting all together and then branching off into your own individuals. It just sounds really neat. I can't wait for that.
And
Hopefully
being
they
that,
break ground.
and then being that we have Flight of Passage over here, I can't say that I would envy the notion that you guys would have that over there, because that would just give me a whole nother excuse to come back with my annual pass. So
Well, yeah.
Oh, I'm just glad they officially announced the e-ticket at DJ. I was a little nervous they weren't going to announce it or just kind of leave it based on, since they didn't really announce much for Disneyland. So I'm like, oh, I hope they at least give us something of the
now,
the
it was
phase
supposed to be
2
an Avengers
marketing.
roller coaster, right?
It was supposed to be, but I guess they kept going back to the drawing board because of capacity issues. So, I guess that's what they came up with.
Yeah, I was Ethan. I was right with you on that. I was watching the live stream of Chapek, and I was getting a little nervous when Target got like 25 minutes of time, and then they're still like, "Are we really going to do this?" And then finally they announced the Avengers thing. I'm like, "Okay, cool. At least we got something." Because last D23, the one in 2017, yeah, it was horrible. They announced Pixar Pier, and that was it. That's all we got.
I was like,
yeah,
Pixar Pier.
Yeah, Pixar Pier, yay.
Yeah,
and then
Which
meanwhile,
gave another reason for people to say parking lot.
Yeah.
Well, I think after this attraction that they're not going to be saying parking lot for very long.
Yeah, I agree.
I am glad that they did it on something, because I thought, oh man, Disneyland just they got the end stick again, just with magic happens.
Oh, I know.
Now, did you see Chris? I don't know if George. I don't know if you watch Fresh Baked, but Chris, if you see the trolley tracks, you obviously they kept them there. So I think the notion's pretty cool. How there could be a station potentially in that building, in the Avengers Cube building. How that could be a trolley. They can integrate a trolley station in there. I like those, like how they, like when the attractions go through attractions, like the People Mover do Space Mountain, Tomorrowland, and the railroad do Splash Mountain. So I hope the trolley does. Like I hope we actually get to go into the Avengers building and then see what it's like, and then get off instead of just being at like a station.
That would be so cool if there was actually an Avengers Campus station that drops you off right inside that Avengers attraction building itself. That would be so neat. I would absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
Yeah, that would be really cool. So yeah, I hope Dave is right. I do watch Fresh Baked. His construction updates are awesome, and I did see that one. And yeah, I hope so. It's just hard to tell because they're not really. He's not close to the action, so everything, your perspective on where things are is kind of thrown off. Everything seems on top of each other because you're far away. So it's hard to tell if the trolley tracks are actually going to be going through it or not. But yeah, I hope it does. I hope it does.
Yeah, and why he does, he has some pretty good shot. I don't know what camera, what software he uses, but all the way from up there on the Pixar Pal around, he got some pretty good views over there and pretty nice zooming technology.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Well, as long as he's on the one that obviously that doesn't swing, because I tell you, I told
Oh
Ethan,
yeah, no, because
I go on. I can handle a lot. I'm a throw junkie, but I tell you what, you get me on the Pixar Palaron on one of those swinging buckets, the palms of my hands sweat every single time.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard. Those are scary.
Yeah, those are not for me. Mm-mm.
So, is there
Mm.
anything else you guys wanted to talk about? Did I
Let's see.
miss any?
Well, oh, I guess I asked Chris. I know I asked you, Georgia. What do you think of the new? Well, I guess from your videos I saw, but what do you think of the new digital fast pass now that they're open in the little kiosks? Now they're open. I think it looks pretty easy. I think what Dave said, it took him about 8 seconds to get 4 of them. So I think it'll work out very well, and hopefully, and I think you're right of how the Guardians of the Galaxy, they just kind of painted it white, the fast pass, and left the Tower of Terror theming because they plan to demolish it eventually. So I think they're gonna expand the resort.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love the digital fast passes. I mean, it makes more sense, and it makes more sense to consolidate them all into one little area for each land. You know, it just
Mhm.
there's no, in my opinion. I mean, and maybe I'm wrong. And if any, comment below if there's something that you guys can think about. But I can't think of any negative to it. I mean, it makes the most sense, in terms of physical space, condensing it all into one area, convenience, and even for Disney, like you don't have to really change the signage or anything. Like let's say Buzz Lightyear goes away and it becomes something different. All that is changing the graphics on the new FastPass screens. You don't got to change like
Cost
physical
effective.
signs anymore or anything like that. It's just it's all done in the computer. They can just swap it out, new ride. It's so easy. It just
Mhm.
it's phenomenal. I can't wait for the rest of the park to get it.
Yeah, same here. And you have those already in Disney World, you said, George, right? The little
Yeah.
kiosks. If you
Yeah.
don't use Fast Pass Plus, yeah,
Yeah, they got them spread it all around, but they don't have them near like the attractions themselves, as such as at Animal Kingdom for Cali River Rapids. It's nowhere near the entrance of the ride itself. You kind of have to walk down um, away from the attraction, and if you're walking away from the attraction, it would be on your left. If you're coming towards it, it will be on your right. But they're kind of these very subtle screens that kind of blend in that you have to really look for them or ask a cast member where they're at, because I mean, I don't know exactly how it's going to be for Disneyland, but for Disney World, they're kind of off of location where you can actually find them.
Oh, yeah, here in Tomorrowland, it's pretty, I think, a pretty visible, obvious location. What do you think, Chris? It's like right at the exit of Space Mountain and the entrance. It's like kind of right in the central plaza where that big ball is. And there's like
Yeah.
3 blue ones. And there's a big, they used one of the Galaxy's Edge land open signs that they're repurposing to tell you the wait times and the fast pass times. And it's pretty like big, so pretty obvious.
No, it's way more visible than the old Space Mountain fast passes. Way more visible.
Yeah, oh yeah. See, the old ones are like way in the corner. You have to go all the way up to the attraction and
Yeah.
past the queue to like wrap around and get it. So, mm. And yeah, I can help like the Buzz Star Tours fast passes. They can use that area for maybe put in some more seating they took away from those people mover poles or those benches that were integrated into the people mover. They can maybe reclaim some seating or stroller parking in areas around the resort for from the Project Stardust taking away. So I think it'll be a great addition.
Yeah, we definitely will. I think anything that would make a guest experience more or less stressful, especially with, I mean, with Disney World, I love the Max Pass system for Disneyland, but for Disney World, the My Disney Experience app and the Fast Pass Plus sometimes, not always, goes the way you plan to. So to actually have those as a plan B, I am glad that they're implementing those in both resorts.
Now, would you say you said I remember last time you said you'd rather have Max Pass at Disney World? Is
I
that
would
what
I would take Max Pass over in a heartbeat than the Fast Pass Plus, definitely.
interesting?
Because with the
Interesting, because
Max
it's
Pass,
the same day thing.
y- it's with the Max Pass, I love it can utilize your time much faster. It's almost like the paper fast passes that they used to disperse out, but it's digitally through your phone. Where with the Fast Pass Plus, you're only maxed with 3 fast passes per day that you can reserve ahead of time. Then whenever that last fast pass ends, you can then get another fast pass every hour once that fast pass is over. But if you have a third fast pass at 9:00 p.m., then you're not going to be able to get another fast pass depending on what time the park closes. So
Oh yeah, it seems
if
like you're
nobody
more
knows about
restricted over there.
yeah, if nobody knows about that notion and they just want to get a fast pass for Flight of Passage or Slinky Dog Dash just so they know that they can get a fast pass, and they get it for 8 or 9 o'clock and the park is closing around that time, then you're subjected to only 3 fast passes.
Oh yeah, that's very restrictive over there.
So I really wish that Walt Disney World would implement the Max Pass system. I really wish they would.
Mm.
So we talked about Avengers Campus, we talked about Galaxy's Edge, we talked about DCA not becoming a parking lot. So, but it's great having you guys on. I appreciate you coming on, and I love our lengthy Disney discussions.
Well, thanks for having us, George. It was fun, and congratulations on your new channel.
Thank you very
Yes, congratulations. 8 subscribers and going up.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully I can get a few more going up there. And I'll have links to these guys' YouTube channels down below. And we want you to comment, please. Anything that we talked about, give your opinion, give your thoughts, join in the conversation, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hopefully with YouTube that you'd be able to see when the new videos come out. And remember, it's never a good day unless it's a Disney day. Bye, everyone.